Hello friends, welcome to the channel Virtual Learners. Today we will discuss what is pandemic and what were the worst pandemics in the history of the world. Now let's consider what is epidemic, what is pandemic and what is outbreak. An epidemic means a disease that affects a large number of people within a community, population or region. While a pandemic means it is an epidemic that spread across multiple countries and continents. Outbreak is a greater than anticipated increase in the number of endemic cases. So, epidemic is region centric where a disease affects a large number of people within a community, population, or region. Pandemic, it is an epidemic that spread across multiple countries and continents. Here we have an example now, that is COVID. They can be called as a greater than anticipated increase in the number of endemic cases. So this is the difference between epidemic, pandemic and outbreak. Now we will move on to the worst pandemics that has occurred in the history of the world. First is the Black Death 1350. It is the bubonic plague outbreak in Asia and it later spread to the west. The origin was in Asia and later it got spread to the western part of the world. It was responsible for death of one-third of the world population. Now let's move on to the Great Plague of London 1665. It is again the bubonic plague outbreak which led to the death of 20% of the London's population. This again was a drastic outbreak of the plague which resulted in 20% of death of London's population. Next we move on to first cholera pandemic 1817. It caused small intestine infection. It was started in Russia. It subsequently spread to countries like India, Africa, Indonesia, China and many other countries. It also took many lives during the pandemic. It was responsible for taking away many lives during this period. Now let's move on to the third plague pandemic 1855. It was again the bubonic plague started in China, claimed 50 million lives and it has then spread to India and Hong Kong. India faced more subsequent casualties. This is about the third plague pandemic 1855. Now comes the Spanish flu of 1918. The period it affected was 1918 September to April of 1919. One-fifth of the world population became ill during this period because of the attack of Spanish flu. It recorded approximately 650,000 deaths in USA alone. High mortality was among the adults. 50 million deaths across the world was reported during the Spanish flu. Flu outbreak was in Madrid, hence the name Spanish flu. The strain was H1N1. So this is regarding the Spanish flu of 1918, which was very drastic because of the high mortality rate and that too among the adults. Almost 50 million deaths across the world was recorded during the Spanish flu of 1918. The strain here is H1N1 virus. Next comes the Asian flu of 1957. The outbreak started in Hong Kong and it later spread to whole of China and then US. Second wave of the attack appeared in 1958. Approximately 1.1 million deaths was reported globally. The virus was quickly identified and it was contained effectively. The strain was H2N2 virus. Now comes the SARS, which was in 2003. It was called severe acute respiratory syndrome. It started in bats and it affected almost 26 countries. It was characterized by respiratory problems, fever and headache. Quarantine efforts proved effective for the containment of the virus. Now the latest one is COVID-19 caused by novel coronavirus. This strain has not been found previously in humans. It was characterized by respiratory problems, fever and headache. It spreads through droplets while sneezing. Till now, there is no vaccine for the virus. Hence, the disease is spreading very fast throughout the countries, taking many lives. The outbreak of coronavirus has been declared as a global health emergency of international concern by WHO on January 2020. The WHO declares a public health emergency of international concern when there is an extraordinary event which is determined to constitute a public health risk to other states through the international spread of disease. That is why the WHO declared a public health emergency of international concern due to the spread of COVID-19 virus. WHO has declared 5 global health emergencies previously. During swine flu 2019, during polio virus cases rise in 2014, Zika virus outbreak in 2016, Ebola virus in 2014 and 2019. These were the 5 situations previously which was declared as global health emergencies by WHO. If you like this video, please subscribe for more videos.